Hello and welcome back to my craft room. Well, after a very colourful month with the lovely Maggie Morris as my muse, it's time for a new adventure. This month my muse is going to be the wonderful Viviana Molinares. Now I think she said she's usually called a Vivian. Not many people call her Viviana, but I just think Viviana's such a pretty name, so that's what I call her. Now, if you're in our Facebook group, you will know Viviana's work very well, I'm sure. She does the amazing, colourful, beautiful underwater scenes, seascapes, whatever you want to call them. Fabulous, colourful textile collages. Beautiful, stitched works of art. I have lots of photos of Viviana's work that she has kindly allowed me to share. I have a couple of actual in-person examples of her work that she has sent, one for our Bonkers Quilt project and one for me, so it will be really nice to have them by me. I've pulled out lots and lots of supplies which I'll go through with you in a minute, show you what I'm going to be using. I'm going to be mainly working with scraps from Bazaar scrap packs, which is lovely because in a couple of weeks we're heading off to Sussex for the Bazaar event where we're having a slow stitching corner this year, and we're going to be joined by lots of lovely friends from our community. Maggie Morris and her friend Sue, Granny Sue and her granddaughter Jess, Lucy's coming, Kaz is coming all the way from Australia and has actually already landed in the country, and lots of other people coming as well, and we're hoping that some people who aren't in our community will have a look at what we're doing and come and sit and stitch with us for a little while. It would be fabulous. We will be working then, we'll be doing our slow stitching mainly using the Bazaar scraps that Bazaar Jo will be, she's not bizarre, that Jo Hall, who is the owner of Bazaar, she'll be providing the scraps, and we'll be providing all of the needles and threads and inspiration and other supplies that we need, so it'll be free to come and have a go. So it's nice to be using the scraps for this project. So first of all, what I'm going to do is show you some photos that I have of Viviana's work. So she works on a massive scale with some of her pieces are absolutely huge, and some are really small as well, and she does things other than these collages too. I'm going to show you all of it. Right, I'm going to show you this one first. It's one of the simpler pieces of hers that I've seen, and this hasn't got any of the fabulous creatures that she does in it, but there's a reason why I'm showing you this one, will become apparent in a minute. So you can see this beautiful, she uses the same kind of fabrics that I'm going to be using from the Bazaar packs actually. There are all kinds of fabrics you can see. Now you can see a piece of lace up here, there's sari ribbon, there's this beautiful kind of, it looks sort of pearlescent sheer fabric she's used for seaweed kind of there, and then a piece of silk here. So yeah, all kinds of different fabrics she's used there. I know she uses a lot of silk, there's lace in there, and quite a lot of fine, fairly sheer fabrics that she uses. She layers them up a lot, so I think she uses finer fabrics so it doesn't get too difficult to stitch through. Here's another picture of the same one in a frame. I included that as well because isn't it amazing the difference a frame makes? We'll have a closer look in a minute at some of the incredible details that she adds. Like I say, this is actually one of the simpler ones that I've seen of hers, really. It's totally beautiful though, and the reason I've shown you this first is now going to become apparent, because here's a picture where she got best in show, and this photograph includes Viviana herself here so this was exhibited at a show, and she got, I think it was best in show that she got for this. I wonder if it'll let me, will it let me? No, it won't let me biggen it. So let's have a look at some of Viviana's other pieces now. It looks like batik type fabric there she's working on in the background, and she's created these beautiful jellyfishes. Look at them. Look at all of the detail. As we go through over the next few weeks, we'll look more closely at how she creates these details. I'm just trying to give you a flavour of her work now, and don't be intimidated by how difficult and complicated this looks. I'm hoping that we can have a look at how she does things. She's given me lots of tips and things as well that I will share along the way, and or have a go at being inspired by Viviana's work. I've put together some templates so everybody will be able to have a go, even if you're not confident with your drawing skills. Here's a very typical of Viviana's kinds of underwater scenes. I love how there's just these random patches of fabric in the background to add interest. Beautiful blue piece, and then these patches of other fabrics. And she actually creates the fish and jellyfish and things separately, and then cuts them out and puts them onto the background. But we'll go into all of that as we go along. As I say, just trying to give you a bit of a flavour of her work at the moment. This folder that I've opened now, I've put all of the pieces that I've got into different folders. This one's jellyfish and anemones. So here's the anemone, which she's just finished just recently. I love how she's using. This is part way through. You can see that she's still got a needle stuck in there. I love how she's used this kind of iridescent tubing stuff here to create the kind of fronds on the jellyfish, and she adds lots of detail with beads and sequins and things you can see there. So this next picture is of when she's finished it, and there's a little fish there as well. How gorgeous is that? Absolutely exquisite. I'm going to try and break things down and simplify things a bit, and as I say, I've prepared templates we can use so that we can all have a go at emulating Viviana. Another thing that Viviana does that I love is her seahorses. How beautiful is he? I have created a seahorse template as well. You can use it if you would like to, and see how she's added all these different beads. There's some sort of flat mother of pearl beads. I've got some like that I must dig out. I've just realised I forgot to pick them out. And there's sequins, and there's more beads down here, and seed beads all along there. There's lots and lots of work in this. I think I love how she creates the background. I love the little seagull. I love all the details. It's just beautiful. The colours she uses, really vibrant colours. It's real works of art, isn't it? But I think we can do this. I think that we can all have a go at doing something inspired by this. Here's another type of seagull, seahorse. Look at the colours in this. Look at the colours in the background. The way that the oranges in that seahorse really pop against the blue. She's so good how she uses the colours. And this kind of holy kind of lacy, random lacy trim down here that she's used to create a kind of an impression of some kind of underwater plant. Sari ribbons she uses a lot to create some of her kind of underwater foliage. Beautiful. And overlaying different sheer fabrics, overlaying them over one another. Okay, now let's have a look at some of Viviana's fish and more of these beautiful backgrounds. Look at this. There's these kind of corals that she's created here. It's so gorgeous. And she does lots of differently shaped fish. I have created a template with lots of different fish on as well. All the different kinds of silks there laid. And these are just very much the kind of silks and things that you get in the bazaar packs. All of that. If you've got bazaar packs already, I'm sure if you haven't, you can. I will give links to bazaar as well, so you can get hold of these scrap packs. But you know, feel free to use what you've got. You haven't got to go and buy bazaar packs to do this. I don't want people to feel like they've got to go and get them. But if you've got bazaar packs, some of their silk packs or texture packs or brocades, any of them, I mean the mixed scrap packs, they're perfect to use this kind of thing. And she uses quite small pieces as well. This one is interesting because it shows part of Viviana's working process. So this is what she does. She works on these individual little creatures on fabric on a frame. And then she cuts them out and applies them to the background that she's created. I love what she's done here, how she's created that texture in the tail with these strips of fabric that she's kind of manipulated and then tucked beads in and around as well to create that lovely texture in the tail. Definitely something I want to try. There's another one waiting to be cut out. You can see where she's freehand drawn the shape onto the fabric, onto the background fabric there. I'll talk a bit more about what her process is. She's given me a lot of pointers, but we'll talk about that as we go along. I can actually recognise pieces in some of these. I can recognise pieces that you get in the bazaar packs. And look at, it's where she puts in the different kinds of sequins and beads all down here that really kind of bring it all to life as well. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful. And you can see you can use up quite small little scraps in here as well. Here's some more fish in a scene. Definitely need to look closely at the way she creates the corals and seaweed, and as I work through the projects, I'll share everything that I'm trying and gleaning from looking at these photos and the pieces that I've actually got, the physical pieces I've actually got. I like this one because this is showing the setup that she works on. This is a huge frame she's got here. I wish I had one of these. I wouldn't have room for it, mind you, but yeah. Viviana lives in Florida, so in the Facebook group she often shares pictures of where she lives as well. It's like crocodiles out the back, and what were the birds? She was showing these big birds, sandbills I think. They're huge. They kind of look, I can't describe them. They're huge, really enormous with long legs. So you can see, it's very interesting to see work in progress there. So talking about work in progress, this is a lobster that Viviana's currently working on. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I have done a lobster template for us to try as well, and this shows a good look at how she works. So you've got the fabric. This is larger than she usually works apparently. I think she said this is about, was it 24 inches long? No, I can't remember what she said now. She might have said yes, it's like a couple of feet long. So what she does is she draws the piece, that this one she drew onto a tracing paper, and then she transfers the image, draws it kind of directly onto the fabric that she's working on, and then she cuts out all the little pieces. You can see the little pieces there, little sections that she's cut out of the tracing paper, and cuts them out of the silk or whatever fabrics she's using. She said she often uses silk because it's quite fine, so if you get lots of layers it's easier to stitch through. And then she applies that, so she goes all around the outline that she's drawn in stitching first. Then she applies the pieces of fabric and she fills in the gaps between with stitching. And if we go on to this next photo, you can see she's now added in pieces of fabric to fill the legs and the little feelers and things there, whatever you call them, what you call them. And there's stitching now in the gaps between. And then she carries on and adds more stitching for detail and texture, and she adds her beads and sequins and things. She cuts all of this whole thing will be cut out and applied to the background that she's prepared, and then there'll be more stitching and beading and things on top of that. Yeah, a lot of work in it, but how beautiful that's going to be. So one of my favourite things that I think has got to be this octopus. He's beautiful. I just love this. I love the shape of it. I love the fabrics that she's used. She's found this fabric with these swirly things on, which kind of echoes the circular kind of pieces that she's added to make the kind of suckers on the tentacles. I just think it's totally gorgeous. Love that shape. Love also the background that she's put it on, and I think that blue background sets off the the terracotta and kind of purpley colours in the octopus. I just love this. I love everything about this, and the little scene she's created around him. Beautiful. I have done a template for this one too. Here's a closer look at him, and this is, I would say this is before she'd finished. She'd still got work to do on this, but you can see there where the pieces are tacked down. She, like me, she doesn't bother taking her tacking stitches out, quite likes the look of them, ends up doing a lot of stitching over the top anyway, so it's barely going to show. I love how she's layered these pieces in and then done stitching over the top to create all these interesting markings. and blend that kind of the head area into the body. I just think I just love this. I'm so inspired by this. And she's brought life to the eye and made the eye look all kind of glossy by adding that little highlight there. Now here's this looks like this is the octopus when she was just beginning to work on it. She hasn't added all of the stitching in there over the top. You can see she's just tacked the pieces on to her background and begun the decorative stitching. She's done a bit around here, but she's not. She's done some in the eye, but by no means finished. And then here's a smaller octopus. This is one she's making for one of her charms. I'm going to show you some of the charms in a minute as well. She does them to hang off the bags that she also makes. I love this little expression on this little guy. So cute. And these are quite small. Some of the pieces she does really are quite small and intricate. So let's have a look at some of her charms now. This is one of them hanging off one of the bags that she weaves herself. I'll show you some of them in a minute too. I love these charms that she does. They're heart-shaped and she has these beads and tassels. They're just fabulous. And so this is the same. That's that little octopus we were just looking at, now turned into one of these beautiful charms. It just really adds something special to whatever you attach it to. Here's another one featuring one of her beautiful seahorses. Just look at the details. This lovely kind of crystally beads in here, and little clusters of 3 beads along the spines of the seahorse, and different kinds of beads here layered up together. A gorgeous bead on the bottom of a tassel. I mean, it's just, absolutely exquisite. This looks like one in the making. I imagine this is going to be one of her charms, although she might have been making hearts, because she did do the heart swap as well, I believe. Look at how those little seed beads just look like bubbles coming up. So clever. And she's just outlined the shape of that kind of wing that comes off the back of the spine of the seahorse, so it looks sort of translucent. It's just fab, isn't it? Here's a charm where you can see the whole thing, and this glorious tassel made up of bundles of ribbons and strips of beautiful silk fabric and things there. So talking about the bags with the charms, here's a little collection of beautiful bags. So she weaves these. She uses strips of fabric which she winds around that kind of cording, like sash cording I call it. It's like a thick cotton, like a really thick, like a washing line, but really thick. I don't know how to describe it. So she wraps the fabric around that, torn strips of fabric, and then weaves it together. And she did very kindly send me some step-by-step photos and lots of tips about making them, and it's on my list of things to do. I really want to have a go at making some of these. I just think they're fab. Look at them. And those charms hanging off them really make them extra special. Here's a closer look at one of them. Look at the combination of colours. She's definitely got an artist's eye with the colours, hasn't she? And again, that charm just sets the whole thing off. I just think that is just beautiful. Look at this one. Different again. Whole different look again. And that one, oh, there's our little octopus guy on that one, look. You can see him with his tassel now. And this was baskets. She got into making baskets, and like me, I think we are kindred spirits in many ways, Viviana and I. I get totally obsessed with something when I've started doing it. And I had a similarly huge collection of baskets woven out of strips of recycled newspaper rolled into tubes. Yeah, I just couldn't stop. And it looks like Viviana is the same. And speaking of having an artist's eye, Viviana does paint as well. She usually works in acrylics. And with this one, she's painted this beautiful koi fish inside of a shell, and then put this lovely gloss on it so it looks like it's underwater. I think this is the one that she actually did for a giveaway for us a few months back, just as part of a giveaway, which was so generous. I mean, just this on its own would have been a beautiful prize. Here's another one. And I love how she uses this. So that previous one had silver painted around the outside, which looks gorgeous. And this one has got gold. The metal, the metallic effect really sort of sets the colours off, I think. So yeah, you've got the classic pair of koi swimming in that clamshell. Not clamshell, scallop shell. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at the movement in that. And look at this piece. So this is like a trio of canvases that all fit together. Again, this looks like acrylics again. She said she usually works in acrylics. What a wonderful piece. I mean, any of them on their own, but the three of them together, it's just stunning, isn't it? And here's two birds that she's done. I mean, you can see she works on quite a big scale. Look at the size of those paintings. Beautiful. I love how she's done the feathers. Let's have a closer look. I love how she's indicated the texture of the feathers by with the brush strokes, and the difference between the texture on the beak and the texture on the feathers down the neck, and then the feathers in the body. Here's a closer look at this. Now I've forgotten what the birds are called. This might be the birds that she took the photos of that visit her garden at night. Sandbills. It might be them. They kind of looked a bit like that. And just recently, I loved this. I've got something I've got to show you now. I forgot about. Just recently, Viviana sent me this picture of this little collection of houses she'd made, just by way of a break from, you know, she'd been doing a lot of fish and things for a big piece, and just wanted to break, something quick and easy to do for a little break. So she used some scraps and things and put these cute houses together. And how adorable are they? And one of them, the one bottom left here, I've actually got in person because she sent it to me. I'll just show you in a minute. Just so we look at the way she's used the patterns in the fabric to show, and then added stitch details to kind of show windows and tiles on the roofs, and yeah, so clever. And yeah, she's turned that one into a little brooch and sent it to me with a package, which was really sweet. And then just recently, well, not recently, a few months back, when we were making the scrappy seagulls that I did the pattern for, Viviana was inspired and did her own fancy bird inspired by the seagull. So my seagull was sort of sitting there with a hat on and stuff, and she's done a similar thing in this kind of flamingo, and I just thought this was so fabulous. Look at that, even to the collar around the neck there, and the fancy hat and everything. It's just gorgeous, coupled from different angles here. I love them. You can see it's kind of related to my scrappy seagull, but different. Isn't she fabulous? So that's a look at the sort of photographic examples I've got of Viviana's work. You'll see, if you're in the Facebook group and you search Viviana's name, you'll find other pieces of work that she's posted as well. But I've also got a few in-person pieces to show you. Now, I have been going on for ages and ages. I think this video is very much going to be a bit of a preparation one, showing you Viviana's work, talking about what I'm going to be making, telling you about the templates, and also everything else that you will need to gather together if you want to join me on this adventure. Don't be intimidated. I know it looks like, oh, that's so good, you know, and I initially you look at it and think, oh, I couldn't do that, but actually I think we can. I think we can do this. We can have a look at how Viviana works, what it is about her work that makes it distinctively her style. I know that she'll be happy to answer any questions and things that I've got. She's been so helpful. I have got templates that I've prepared. I've got I'll show you the drawings and stuff in a minute as well, and we'll talk about them, so that will help as well if you're someone that's not so confident drawing. But first of all, let's have a look at the pieces that I've actually got in person. So you remember that little house I showed you just now? Here it is. She's put a little brooch back on so I can wear it as a brooch or pin it on a craft bag or whatever. At the moment I've got it on one of my little display shelves, but how cute is that? I just think it's such a lovely idea, these houses, to use up the tiniest scraps. They're really cute. Beautiful collaged card that she made. And although this is something completely different, it's not stitching at all or painting, it's got that same style, and something about the colours and things and the shapes still very much Viviana to me. And here is the beautiful piece that she sent me. My own little fish. And I think what I'm going to end up doing is cutting around this fish in the same way that she would do and applying it to my own finished underwater scene. rather than just keep it like this in a bag. It'd just be nice to have it be part of my project. Look at the details in this. So she's used really quite tiny scraps of silk here to fill in her shapes. Lots and lots of chain stitching here for the face. I love this stitch that she's used to create the shape of the scales, getting smaller and smaller towards the tail. And then all of these sequins, so it's a sequin, each one is a sequin with a bead on top of it to create that gorgeous effect. And down here you've got masses and masses of tiny seed beads. Lots and lots of work in this. I think this project is going to take longer than the month. I think I'm going to go through September as well, probably, with this one. It'll take me up to the beginning of the next swap. I think that's kind of my plan. How tiny scrap you could, the tiniest scraps you can use. As I mentioned earlier, she said one of the reasons she likes to use the silk is that it's quite fine and you can layer it up without it getting too difficult to stitch through. But also it's got that lovely luster to it, the silk, hasn't it? Real sort of depth to it that, yeah, you don't really get with anything else. I think there's something about it that, but she also uses other kind, synthetic fabrics and things, and cottons and stuff as well. I love this. This looks like it's been cut from something like an artificial flower or something. It's got that feel about it. Lovely little crystally eye. And one last example of Viviana's work to show you is the piece I've got the whole quilt, the bonkers quilt on my lap now. And it's here is the piece Viviana sent for the quilt. Isn't it glorious? A lot of the shape of this one is filled in with stitches, rather than the fabric scraps. Actually, interesting. This is a bit different, this one, isn't it? She's done that same stitch that I showed on the other one, and in this case she's filled it in. She's filled in all the spaces with different stitches as well. Metallic threads, really silky threads with a lovely sheen to them. I love these little, I don't know where she got these little they're more like buttons than beads because they've got the two holes in them, but they're a lovely shape for adding to these pieces of kind of sea foliage. Corals, like kind of coral, isn't it? Coral effect. So my plan for my Viviana adventure is to work towards creating a kind of continuing seascape, and I'm going to put it together in a book format, but so that it can be each page can be unfolded. Recently it showed how to make this little fabric book, which it's better to come back to the desk, I think, which is still blank at the moment. I haven't filled it in. I did it as a stitch sampler, but I was more interested in the construction of the book at the time, I think. And you can hold it together with rings, but I just held it together with scraps of fabric. I haven't decided which way I'll hold this one together. But my book, in this case, is going to be huge. It's going to be kind of A3 size. This is an A3 sketch pad. It's a mixed media pad, actually. So each page is going to be that size-ish. I'm not going to be rigid about it. It doesn't have to be A3, but it's going to be roughly that size. And it's going to be constructed in the same way as this one is. So if I just show you this, so that this is how it'll open, but imagine that will be A3. So I need to make each piece of fabric will actually have to be cut twice A3, so it will fold around like this. If I untie this, so as I say, this can be done with book rings or tied like this. And the idea is that if I take it off of here, you cut the page twice the length you want it to be, so that with the idea that it will fold in half like this. While you're working on it, see, I put wadding on the back of this one, batting on the back of this one, because I like that for slow stitching into. I'm not going to use wadding for this project. So yeah, I will cut this twice the size of A3 in a landscape format. That way you can work on it like this. You don't need to worry about what the back looks like, because that will be folded away and hidden. But you can unclip the rings or untie the ties, and you can pull each page out. Oops. So you can look at the page just like this, or you can open out each page and see the whole thing. I might decide that I don't want to do it quite like this so that it links together. I want it to open more easily, so I might decide to back it and then just fold each page in like that. Still have them strung together at the spine, as it were, but just have this loose so I can just open it out like that without having to untie anything or unclip anything. But yeah, all I need to know at this point is that I need to cut my pieces twice A3, because I want to end up with this being quite big pieces that I've got lots of scope to work in. So let's put that away. It's a really easy, it's the easiest kind of fabric book construction I've done, I think. So yeah, I'll try and remember to link to the video where I made that, because it's such a nice one. So even if you wanted to make a little book like this as a stitch sampler yourself, or somewhere to keep your swaps in, it's such a nice easy way to put it together. For my background, it's quite similar to what it's a bit thicker actually, but fairly similar to what Viviana works on. This is what I happen to have. I don't want to buy anything specially, so it's like a sort of medium weight calico. I got a whole lot of this really cheap through Amazon actually, so I got plenty there, and it's big enough to cut the size pieces I'm going to want. So I'm just going to cut one page at a time, I think. So I will cut enough for the first page, or tear enough for the first page in a minute. So what I've done is, to make it a bit easier, as I say, for people who aren't so confident with their drawing skills, with Viviana's permission, I have done some drawings inspired by her work. Here's the octopus. So this is an A3 sheet. So the way my book will work out is, the octopus would completely show on this page. When you turn it over, it might be the tail end of the octopus might come over here, and then some fish and whatever. But I will be able to open it all out so that I've got a scene twice that long, the whole of this length, all in one go. So I just think that'd be really fun. If that's not making sense, it will as we go along. So this is just the drawn template. Now what I've done is, no, I haven't done it. Let's be honest. Tom has done it. Tom has spent hours and hours in Inkscape for me, tidying up all my drawings and making them into lovely, neat templates that are designed to print out easily, either at A3 or A4, because most of us have only got A4 printers. So he's worked it so that the design can be printed onto A4 sheets, and then what you do is stick them together with a bit of tape to make the whole image. Or you can do the whole thing smaller if you want, and we'll just do an A4 size, so that you make a smaller octopus if you want. But I want to work at this size, I really do. I think it'll give me lots of scope, and it'll just be less fiddly too. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is take you now to look at a screen in Inkscape, where Tom has been working on turning this into a beautiful template for us to use. You can see at the moment that says Seagull Pattern 2. That's because we haven't finished it yet. We've still got some finishing to do. It takes many hours to do this. But he's done a fabulous job of it. I can't remember how to move this over now. Oh no, don't want to do that. But yeah, so you can see the kind of thing. We've got this bit here, these two sheets. You would print them out on your normal A4 home printer, and then it will slightly overlap so that you can tape the two together and create the one large image. And then there's one big one, if you do have access to an A3 printer, you could print it out all in one A3 there. And then there's also one that will print out just the whole thing on an A4 sheet if you want to work smaller. So that's the octopus. Then these were my drawings for the Seahorse. I tried different ways of... I was trying to find different ways that you could simplify the drawing of it, and I think the easiest way in the end was this, you know, it was using 3 circles and then drawing between the 3 circles. So if you'd rather not have the templates and have a go at drawing it yourself, and you want a little quick, I won't dare call it a tutorial, but a quick video on how I sort of worked out how to draw the Seahorse in the end, give me a shout. I could always do that, I guess, couldn't I? But yeah, this one will be the one that will actually be turned into a proper template. Maybe could fit him and a starfish on the same A4 sheet, something like that. And this is the big sheet of fish. So what I'm going to do is this big template here with all the different shapes and sizes of fish. Again, it will be made so that you can print them all onto one A4 sheet, or print it onto 2 A4 sheets and overlap it, tape it together to make the big one. Or there'll be an A3 one that you can just print onto an A3 printer if you've got access to one. So this, the fish template, that's going to be a freebie. It will be on my Gumroad as a freebie. I'll also be doing a set of templates including the Octopus, the Seahorse, that will probably go with a starfish or something, and the Lobster, which is a bit of a mare trying to draw it. But that set of templates, there's going to be a small charge for it. It'll be on my Gumroad. It'll be small. I won't charge a lot. It'll just be a couple of quid for the set of templates, and it will be free to my channel members. If you just want to do the fish, that's going to be a freebie template. If you want the Octopus, the Seahorse, and probably there'll be a starfish with it to fill up the sheet, and the Lobster, there will be a small charge for it. Or if you're one of my channel members, you'll get it as a freebie. You need to use your August discount code, which I think I've already given you, but I'll put it out again. If you want to have a go at drawing an octopus yourself, I would say do what I did. I went online and found all kinds of references. Viviana kindly offered to draw them for me as well, but I was already pretty much halfway through by then. I got a mixture of photos. This has got the guy torn out because he was catching giant lobsters somewhere or other, and I found the whole thing so cruel and horrible and upsetting. It linked to a video where they were hunting them and stuff. I couldn't watch it. It was so upsetting. I had to tear his gleeful face off because I couldn't look at it. I couldn't believe the colours in some of these giant lobsters. Incredible. So yeah, I looked at photos like this, but their anatomy is very complicated, and it took me a few goes. One of the previous goes was this one. Yeah, it took me a while. And you know, I've definitely taken artistic liberties for sure. But I've tried to simplify it enough that these shapes can be cut out easily enough, or traced and stitched easily enough. But yeah, I found all kinds of references. I also looked at Viviana's half finished piece, and these were available as colouring book, free downloadable colouring sheets. So you know, if you haven't got to buy me templates, basically is what I'm saying. You could have a go at drawing it yourself, and or you could probably find a freebie colouring sheet like that and use that instead if you'd rather. But yeah, that's my plan. Hopefully by the time this video goes out, I'll have them ready to use, and I can put a link in the description box. So supplies wise, I've got the background fabric, a whole lot of sequins, lovely pack of sequins. I think it was Lucy got me these sequins, you know. I think these came from Barbara. This is actually called Sea Glass Embellishments Box. They're really sea glass colours, aren't they? Perfect opportunity to use these. All lovely shades of blue and green, and all different sizes and things. There's even some buttons in there. I've got all kinds of colours of seed beads. I think all kinds of colours can be used in there. Got these cute ones that I got from Bazaar, actually. Little mother of pearl fish shaped buttons. got to be a good opportunity to use them, hasn't it? And then I've just got lots of other beads. I've got drawers full of beads and things that I will rummage through. Got some slightly larger ones. Those will probably be good too. Mixed pot of sequins and flowers and things in there. These are just ones that kind of accumulate on my desk, but even things like that, like this resin flower, I wonder if I could use that as part of a coral or something. I'm going to put a little bit my own spin on the underwater scene, because I think what I'd like to do, because it's something that really concerns me, is a reference to the kind of polluting of the oceans with plastic and things. So I may end up introducing some incongruous looking elements into my piece to show, like, you know, like a carrier bag or a piece of plastic bottle or something in amongst the beautiful underwater scene. And I've also got a couple of other little things I want to try, like I think it's called trapunto quilting, where you apply your fabric and then you cut a slit in the back of the backing fabric only, and you pad it out with stuffing, or you can even use yarn and things like fat yarn to go through to create shapes underneath the surface of the fabric you've applied, if that makes sense. And I think that would be a really interesting way to add some texture and form in my piece. So I'm going to try some of that. For my actual fabrics, I've got a few of the batik fabrics left that Maggie sent me. I think it might be quite a good opportunity to use some of those. And then of course I've got my Bazaar scrap packs, which I haven't got any like as individual packs now, but I've got them sort of sorted into types and things. Oh man, that's already shouting Octopus at me because of the suckers on the tentacles. Yeah, I mean the Bazaar, I mean all of these, like, as part of the coral reef or whatever. Oh yeah, and fish, and yeah, I mean Bazaar, it is a perfect way to use these kind of different textures and fabrics and things that you get in the Bazaar packs. It's just a perfect way to use this. And even if you've got really tiddly scraps left, like we all do, fish, you can use really tiny pieces in a project like this. Look at the tiny size of some of these scraps that Viviana's pieced together to fill the shape of the fish. Yes, I'm going to be using primarily Bazaar scraps, because that will give me a good mixture, and will include lots of silks. But I might also dip in, I know I've got some organzas and things like that as well, which I keep in a separate place, and I've got some kind of synthetic-y fabrics that I got from Megan Crook Textiles at one point. Some really kind of quite leery kind of lame and things like that, which might come in really well as well for this. That's what I'm gathering together. I know I haven't actually done, I had thought in this video I would actually start putting the book together, but I think I just need to make one piece at a time actually. So I would say I'm going to stop this video now. That's what I've done, is show you what my inspiration is, talk about what I plan to do, quick show and tell of the kind of things I'm going to be using in case you want to gather up some scraps as well. Hopefully by the time I get this video out, the template will be ready, so you can, or templates will be ready, so you can go and visit my Gumroad shop and download them. So what I'm saying now, in a nutshell is you can just download the fish template for free. If you want the other template, you can buy it now. It's only going to be £2. It might be that at the point this video goes out, only the Octopus will actually be on there in its different size options. I will add in the Seahorse and whatever I fill that page with, and the Lobster. And when they get added in, you'll get an automatic notification that they're now available, and you'll just get them free because you've already paid when you got the Octopus, if that makes sense. So I'm going to start on a fish first, and then I'll do the Octopus, and then I'll do the Lobster and the Seahorse, and the templates will be available long before that. I hope all that makes sense. If you're one of my channel members, you'll get all of them for free anyway, and I will post in the I'll do a YouTube post and let you know when they become available. I really hope that made sense. If it didn't and you've got any questions, just ask me in the comments and I will answer. So I hope that's wet your whistle for a bit of a marine adventure with our Viviana. I'm so inspired. She is such an artist with fabric and thread. She really is. And I'd like to take the opportunity to say thank you, Viviana, for letting me share your beautiful work, for the beautiful pieces that you've sent me as well, the one that goes on that's gone on the quilt and the one that's just for me, and for being so generous with all the tips and your photos and all of that. It's just, yeah, really, really kind of you, and I'm sure lots of people are going to be inspired by your work over the coming weeks. So that's it for me for now. I hope you enjoyed that and it wasn't too confusing and you feel inspired to maybe join me on this journey. But thanks for joining me today, and I will see you again really soon.